Welcome into Sports Talk with Theo Dorsey. He's Mike Fussell. I'm Theo in South Georgia. Let's talk sports. It's the postseason in Georgia High School Association basketball, where winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. And while the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 will be broken down next week, tonight we're focusing on what transpired in round number 1.
That's right, and there's plenty of action to go around. South Georgia teams went 23-21 in the opening round, and highlights were not tough to come by, including those from Tifton. Tift County boys coach Chris Wade is joining Sports Talk tonight. He lifted the Blue Devils to the postseason in his first year on the bench, and the Blue Devils did fall in the first round, but they finished as the best team in the region with 20 wins. Wade's coming in soon, but first, let's talk awards.
Well, it's playoff time, so it's natural to expect the shining star of the week to be a veteran, but out in Blakely, the Early County girls have been riding the stellar play of a freshman as they move on to the oh-so-sweet 16. Michaela Timpson is the shining star of the week. The freshman center dropped in the modest 15 points, 8 boards, and 6 blocks. I say modest because that's a modest stat line for the girl who was crowned Region 1 AA Player of the Year. Timpson has been averaging just under 19 points, 11 boards, and 5 blocks per game. She stands 6'2" and is the focal point on both sides of the ball for the Lady Bobcats. Here's Timpson after Early County beat St. Vincent's 60-35.
Yeah, it feels good to advance. Got to keep going first. Congratulations to my coach, Player of the Year. I got Player of the Year. She got Coach of the Year.
And you got to love her showing love to her head coach after the big-time victory.
All right, Theo, after a 6-11 start, the Monroe Lady Tornadoes have ran off 9 wins in the past 10 games, earning a bid into the Sweet 16. They also earned squad gold. Monroe took down Liberty County 67-28 in the opening round of the AAA playoffs. The Lady Tornadoes outscored the Lady Panthers by 32 points in the second half at home, and the win represented the second largest margin of victory of any team in the classification in round 1. This run of success for Monroe includes a second consecutive region championship. We'll see if they can keep it going to make a deep playoff run.
Appreciate that. Well, it's now time for the part of the show that you've all been waiting for, the South Georgia Power Rankings. These rankings will be post-first round, but won't include anything from the Sweet 16. Any teams eliminated from the first round are automatically out. So now that we've got the rules out of the way, let's get right to it on the boys' side. And we didn't have much change on the top. The top 4 will remain the same, with Calhoun County, Thomasville, Westover, and America Stumter staying alive. Coffee comes in at 5th, sitting at 19-7, and Cook makes his debut in the South Georgia rankings in the honorable mention spot. Over to the ladies. Valdosta remains number 1, while Bainbridge jumps Terrell County for the 2nd spot. Terrell and Pelham were both idle because they had round 1s in bye week, and America Sumter got a home win. They're 5th, and kudos to the Lady Canes of Fitzgerald out in Ben Hill County. They make their debut in the rankings as an honorable mention.
All right, here's the fun part. No team has had multiple Showstopper Plays of the Week honorees this season. That ends here in Week 6. You voted. Your winner is coming straight out of Tift County. Region Championship game. Conquet County at Tift County. Monte Terrell on the break. Lobs one to Rashad Bateman. Look at that right there for the alley-oop slam. Terrell won a Showstopper award a couple of weeks back for his 4-point play. This time, the assist earned 350 votes. Definitely, you can see right there why. And those were all on Facebook as the Showstopper from the Region Championship weekend.
That was amazing. That was a pretty big play. You were there, right?
I was. It was pretty exciting.
That was good. Well, another first can potentially happen here on Sports Talk. You guys already know the rules. Vote on the original post on my Facebook page, Theo Dorsey, WALB News 10. Here goes your options. Option number 1 is 2 plays from Monroe High's Zaquise Teamer. First, Teamer gets the feed and goes body to body, Sierra style, at the rim. And then he's not done though. Ensuing play, Teamer says no way. The block, the stuff, consecutive plays both at the rim. To vote for Teamer, going back to back like he's on the cover of Lethal Weapon. React with love.
All right, option number 2, and I've got 2 plays as well from Early County's Michaela Timpson against St. Vincent. First, she gets the block, and look at this. She's Shining Star of the Week for a reason, people. Right there on the other end. Lady Bobcats miss. Timpson gets the board, the putback, and the foul. She's all over the show tonight. If you're amazed by her dominance in the paint, and she's going to do it again right there, react with the wow.
And option number 3, Westover at home in round 1, and the first offensive set of the game, they got right to it. Backdoor alley-oop, Michael Eisler Jr. Check it out again as Jordan Brown comes up. He's number 1. He sets the decoy in the middle of the defense. Eisler over the top for the slam. React with ha-ha to vote for this one. Voting lasts until Tuesday at 5 p.m. Well, enough about those playoffs. We're going to get into more of that, but of course we have a very special guest we want to get to, right, Mike?
Yeah, that's right. And the competition matters. We welcome Tift County coach Chris Wade after the break. And Theo will go head-to-head in sports talk trivia. That's something you don't want to miss, as you already know. Welcome back to Sports Talk with Theo Dorsey. We're joined by Region 1 7A champion coach Chris Wade of the Tift County Blue Devils. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you.
And Wade's experience dates back to 1995 as an assistant football coach, but we'll focus on basketball. Theo, take it away.
Oh, well, my pleasure. Chris Wade is in his first season as head basketball coach with Tift County, but his resume is much greater than just this past season. Wade started the basketball program at South Georgia Technical College in 2001. He led them to a pair of state titles in a 5-year stint. He then went 25-7 at Miami-Dade College in 06-07. Wade took a hiatus from basketball as a football assistant, but then returned to the hardwood in 2013 as an assistant at Tift County under Eric Holland. When Holland left last spring, Wade was naturally promoted, and he's now guided the Blue Devils to a 20-7 record in his first year, and now he's here to lose on trivia.
I don't know about that. We'll see here. But like you said, yeah, we're at the trivia portion of our show. We like to call it Theo versus everyone because that's exactly what happens.
I get in here and I take them out.
And the way it works is I'll ask you guys a series of questions. You just buzz in, ring in to answer. You'll get a ball if you're right. The person with the most at the end wins. So you guys ready for this?
We'll give it a shot.
All right, let's do it. All right, these first questions, I'm going to give you guys 2 answers. You have to pick one of them. So it's this or that. All right, what player has the highest career free throw percentage? Is it Steve Nash or Ray Allen?
Steve Nash.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
See?
Okay.
First blood, I like it.
That was cool. That was cool.
I mean, that's an easy one. Everybody knew that.
Yeah.
I just want you to get warmed up.
All right. So yeah, sometimes it comes down to speed, and Theo didn't have it that time.
Oh, okay.
All right, we'll keep going. According to the GHSA website, these won't be allowed at the 2018 basketball state tournament. Drones or Tide Pods?
Tide Pods. Oh, that was dumb.
Drones.
Drones.
Do I get one for him missing?
I don't know why I said
No,
that.
Or do I have to get
not
it
on these. And the next one's yes, but
I should get one for him missing.
It felt catchy. No, you don't get a point for that.
All right.
he said Tide Pods. I think he's embarrassed enough.
Yeah, you're right.
All right. Chicago Bulls coach Phil Jackson is checked into hotels under what pseudonym? Is it Mr. Red Cloud or Jill Faxon?
Jill Faxon.
No. It's Mr. Red Cloud, but since these are this or that, he doesn't get the answer.
Get the
but these questions now are going to be, you guys have to come up with the answer. So if you do want to have a second chance or a second guess, you can do that.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Patrick Ewing was the first NBA player in the lottery pick. What decade did the lottery start?
80s.
Yes, sir. 80s.
Come on, man.
All right, and you can actually put that first ball that you got in the tube there. So now we're tied up here,
all right.
1-1. A couple questions left.
That one anyway.
All right, what sports team got its name because its owner wanted to set the pace in the NBA?
Pacers.
Yes, sir.
Come on. It just said tempo. Pace, I gave it away. All right, you know what? Let's go.
It was in. That's what he said in quotes.
Okay.
So
Makes sense.
I guess I could have paraphrased, but. All right. Atlanta is the 4th home of the NBA's Hawks. Which of the following is not one of their previous locations? East Moline, Illinois, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Chicago, or St. Louis, Missouri, or Chicago?
The first one, Illinois.
No. Well,
Chicago.
Yes.
Woo! Bow.
Theo got that one there. It's still tied up right now. We still have We still have 3 more questions left.
And I got just enough balls.
Yeah, and so does he, though. So it kind of works out like that when you're tied. All right. Cheryl Miller led USC to the national title in 1983 and 84. What is the name of her brother that played
Reggie.
in the NBA?
Come on, man. I know about Cheryl. What you doing, coach?
Too easy.
Which team has won the most NCAA men's basketball championships?
UCLA.
Yep.
Man, I'm eating.
All right. Well, the good thing is this last question is worth 2
Double.
points.
All right, I can tie it up.
So you can tie it up.
But do you really want to tie, though?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to lose.
Right. Anything but a
All right, here's a big one here. What is the name of the team comprised of Looney Tunes that plays the monsters in Space Jam?
Yeah.
What is the team name?
No clue.
I'm going to give you a chance at this. You don't know?
No clue.
Toon Squad, baby.
Yep.
Yep.
Sorry, Coach.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
But you did
That was
get a
good.
good run there. They're just flying all over the place right now.
That was a good one. Hey, you got me early on.
Right.
That's Cheryl Miller, man. Come on, that's easy.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Hey, they're not all hard.
Well, Mike, this is your last sports talk. So if you want to, before we toss the break, do you want to give the people one more goodbye as you leave us?
Yeah, I
from
mean, it's
WAOP?
been fun. We've gotten to do something a little different here, and thank you guys for watching, and hopefully there'll be more to come.
Of course, of course. We're going to talk more with Chris Wade right after this. Welcome back to Sports Talk with Theo Dorsey. I'm joined by the great Chris Wade of Tift County High School, 20-7 Blue Devils. I know you saw me talking a lot of trash to him, and that's because we're good like that, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to beat me up on
Oh
me?
no, not at all. We've always had a good working relationship, and I appreciate everything you've done to cover Tift County since I've been there.
Of course, and I want to get, and I appreciate that. I want to get specifically into Tift County. You're from the Atlanta area.
Mm-hmm.
You've obviously been a lot in coaching in South Georgia. What's your familiarity with Tift County, and how have you adjusted since you've really settled in there in 2013?
Well, I think my first opportunity to be around Tift County basketball was when I was at South Georgia Tech. I recruited some of those teams that Coach Blackshear had, and then Robert Moore one year, when he came over from ABAC. Robert and I go way back with our South Georgia Tech days. So, I had a good feel for it. I remember there recruiting and thinking, if I got back into high school, this would be a great situation to be in. Just the fan support, the facilities, and everything around the program was very intriguing.
Right, of course, and then that ended up working out for you.
Mm-hmm.
You stepped up after Eric Holland left for Rome after the state championship year. We're going to get into the state championship years, but first, I do want to come off of the most recent thing for your Blue Devils. Strong season, region championship, but let's talk about that round one game against Campbell. You guys fell 72-6 or 72. I got it right here, 72-64
right.
At home as the one seed. What happened in that game? What do you feel like went wrong for you guys in that round one loss?
Well, I think one of the things that's attributed to a lot of our success is going into games. We've had a plan of attack on offense and defense, and I don't think. For the most part, we executed that, especially defensively. We knew going in they averaged 69 a game. We give up about 47, 48 a game. So it was whoever imposed their will on each other would come out on top, and they did. They were able to stay to their strengths on offense. We weren't able to take them away, which is what we normally do defensively. And to their credit, they stuck to their guns, and they were better at what they did than what we did, and they deserved to win the game.
Rough. And you guys are obviously the defending 7A champs from past years. So when I ask you this next question, obviously the goal is always a state title, but how do you rate this past year? You did get the region championship. Mm-hmm. You did get a 20-win season in your first year leading the Blue Devils.
Well, I think our number one goal is not a state championship. Our number one goal is to win the region championship. So if you win the region championship, you set yourself up with the best opportunity to win a state championship. So I think if you go into it chasing that ultimate goal of a state championship, then you can get lost along the way as to what you need to be prepared to actually obtain that. So we go into every season focused on the region. We try to play a tough non-region schedule to prepare us once we get into the state championship. And so I think from that standpoint it was a success, considering we did win the region, we did go undefeated in the region, with a group of guys that really hadn't had to play a lot in the past. So I was very proud for them to accomplish that. We were disappointed. We thought we had a real good bracket going into the state tournament. We were playing well going into the state tournament. We actually were undefeated with all of our players there and being able to play. So we felt good about our chances. We just ran into a Campbell team that, on that night they were just better than we were.
Right, and for that, for moving forward for Tift County, I mean, actually, we're going to talk about that after the break. I want to talk specifically about your coaching style. I know I've been around the team a little bit. I've been to practices and games. They seem to really like you and tend to favor you. Somewhat of a player's coach. How are you with the guys, and how are you able to get them to unite as one?
Well, I think the main thing we try to focus on as a staff is always just being upfront, being real honest with the players and their families. They know where I'm coming from at all times. They don't always like it, but I think they know that our best interest as a coaching staff is in them and what's best for them. When I first started out as coaching, I made a list of things that I thought were important, and one of the things was, players will play hard for two reasons: either you make them play hard, or they want to play hard. And so we always try to take the approach that we want our players to play hard because they want to and not because they have to. And I think that's a different level of energy that you get and commitment. Like you say, you see the relationship we have with them. You get more out of a kid if they want to give it to you than if you make them give it to you. So that's always kind of been my approach.
Right, and one spot where it's hard not to play hard is on the gridiron in football. Now,
That's right.
I kind of knew this, didn't really, but you got a lot of football ties. You coached at Americas, at Monroe. What does that, I mean, we could talk about your history all day, but instead of getting into that, how does that help you on the basketball court? What did you learn from football that you kind of able to bridge over?
Well, I think the biggest thing, the biggest two things were probably practice scheduling and organizing a practice, and then the importance of film study. Fortunate enough to work for Dan Regal and then Eric Soliday, who were both very meticulous in preparation, and then they both were very organized in practice. So I think if you come to watch our practice, and you've seen us practice, if you were to watch our practice and a football practice, they're structured very similarly from the way you start to the individual work, the group work, the team work. That type of thing is very much structured like a football practice. And then the importance of film work, which a lot of basketball programs now have gone to a lot of the same things that we do. But film work was always important to those guys, and I just carried that over into basketball.
Well, that's got to be a blessing to find that synchronization there. So we're going to come right back to, we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the Martin Luther King Day Classic that you guys have started up this year and how important that is to the basketball program.
We can all reflect on, like I said, the impact he's had on not just the African American community, but the white community as well. Myself, being a part of a biracial relationship, my daughter's a mixed child, so.
We want to welcome you back to the show. That was our guest, Tift County head basketball coach Chris Wade, and that was just a snippet of what you had to say on Martin Luther King Jr. Day this past day when you had the Classic at Tift County's gym. And I remember specifically talking to you, and you said you had somebody, I guess, that was watching the show saw that and actually came to the game. First off, can you describe to me what that was like, having the conversation with him, that some of your words brought him up out of his house and into Tift County's gym?
It was actually a principal at one of our elementary schools, and his wife also works in the system. And I was walking to the locker room, and they were coming in the back door, and he just stopped me and said, "Hey, we were sitting on the couch, weren't going to do anything, and when we heard you speak on the issues about Martin Luther King, we felt like we needed to come up and support the event." So that was pretty special and pretty neat thing to have happen, and thanks to you for being there to cover it and get it out there for us.
Oh man, it was what you said. It was your words, and it was impactful. And specifically, I want you to kind of go into what you guys have going. I mean, the Tift County, the Martin Luther King Day Classic. You had preachers come in and speak to the kids. You had 8 teams, I believe, 4 girls, 4 boys.
Right.
And it was a nice day, a lot of good basketball, but obviously there was a bigger goal. And I heard you're also trying to expand this moving forward. So what's the vision for this MLK Day Classic?
All right, thank you.
Well, the biggest vision is to just have a vehicle to get the message out there. To get as many people in one place as possible. To use basketball to get another message across to people. So in moving forward, we're looking at probably doing it on a weekend because, the crowds, I guess, being Martin Luther King Day, being a Monday, weren't what we expected. But the idea is mainly for our youth, to educate them. I don't know how much of them, they're so far removed from it, how much of them actually know the impact that he had, or is it just a name and a day to them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as you and I, we're more closer to it, and our parents are more closer to it, and we've been educated probably more so on the impact than our youth have. So I wanted them to kind of really understand what he was about, what the day is for, as opposed to just being a holiday,
Right, so we'll be on the lookout for that, and of course we'll have those cameras there. And before we wrap up, we got about a minute left. I want to talk about the good stuff and the championships you had as an assistant at Tift County. In 2014 and in 2017, the Tift County Blue Devils won state championships. You were on the bench for that, and I'm sure both of those were glorious moments. Can you just speak to both of those state championships and how that has defined you as a coach now?
Well, I think, first and foremost, state championships are very difficult to come by. If you have a chance to win one, you're very fortunate. There's a lot of teams that probably should have won one that didn't for various reasons, especially in basketball. It's a tough game to win a 5-game season. So, those were especially neat to see for the kids, to see their reaction. It's a lasting thing that they'll take on forever. I've won a lot of games in my career as an assistant and a head coach. So to me, the biggest gratification was to see the enjoyment the kids got out of it.
Well, that's great. That's a blessing. We'll see what happens as we go on with GHSA playoffs. Sweet 16 next on Sports Talk. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you,
guys.
sir.
Have a good night.